You'd think joining Real Madrid is a dream come true, right? A guaranteed Ballon d'Or contender, Champions League glory, the white jersey. But what if I told you that at the beginning of next season, Kylian Mbappé might be fighting for a place in this squad? How in the world does that happen? How does the most marketable player on earth get benched next season?
Most of the time we'll play 4-3-3, but sometimes we can play with 3 and 2 midfielders. I want the players to have different stimulus and not just to know what to do in one situation.
Well, let's talk about it. This season has been one of Real Madrid's most underwhelming campaigns in recent memory. Let's start with the Champions League. Real Madrid, 15-time champions, finished 11th overall in the group stage rankings. 11th! It was so poor they were forced to play a Champions League playoff, a stage most elite clubs never touch. They faced a struggling Man City side in that playoff. It was the only game where Real Madrid looked convincing in Europe, but after that, everything unraveled. In the round of 16, they barely scraped past Atletico Madrid, needing penalties to advance after 2 legs. Then came the quarterfinals, a comprehensive defeat to Arsenal. Over 2 legs, Arsenal controlled the tempo, pressed high, and exposed Madrid's structural flaws. Domestically, the story wasn't much better. They lost the Supercopa de España to Barcelona, then they were knocked out of the Copa del Rey, again by Barcelona, and despite being in a tight title race for most of the season, they're now at risk of losing La Liga after dropping crucial points against mid-table sides like Real Betis and Valencia. For a club like Real Madrid, this level of inconsistency is unacceptable. The question everyone is asking is, what happened? Same coach, same tactics, same coaching staff, but suddenly a complete lack of control, poor finishing, and unconvincing midfield dominance. This is not the Madrid that reached multiple Champions League finals in recent years. Last season, Real Madrid looked a complete unit. They reached the Champions League semi-finals, won the Copa del Rey, and pushed Barcelona deep into the title race. Their system under Carlo Ancelotti was functioning. Jude Bellingham was thriving as an advanced midfielder. Vinícius Jr. was operating freely on the left, combining explosiveness with the end product. Rodrigo and Valverde provided balance on the right. And behind them, the midfield of Kroos and Modric controlled games with calm authority. So what changed? Well, not the manager, Ancelotti remained. Not the philosophy. Madrid still build from midfield, relying on transitions and using fluid attacking rotations. But one major shift occurred. Kylian Mbappé arrived. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, then please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. To be clear, Mbappé is not solely responsible for Real Madrid's collapse. They lost Toni Kroos, who retired at the end of last season. Kroos was a central pillar in their build-up, dictating rhythm and tempo. Dani Carvajal also spent a significant portion of the season injured, weakening their defensive structure and right-sided support. But Mbappe's inclusion changed the dynamics of the team. He came into a system that was already functioning, one where Bellingham and Vinícius were focal points of the attack. With Mbappé now starting as a central striker, Bellingham was forced deeper, and Vinícius had to adapt his movements. The fluidity that made Real Madrid dangerous was disrupted. The result? A team that lacked cohesion in attack, became predictable in the final third, and failed to control matches consistently, especially in high-stakes games. And with no new trophies likely beyond the UEFA Super Cup they won at the start of the season, pressure is building. If Real Madrid end this campaign without La Liga, without the Copa, and out of Europe in the quarter-finals, Ancelotti's position is no longer secure, and if he goes, Mbappe's role in the squad becomes even more uncertain. You see, Ancelotti was the one who gave Mbappé immediate priority in the attack, built the front 3 around his presence, and tried to integrate him without overhauling the rest of the structure. A new manager may not afford him the same guarantees, and as we can see, it did not work this season. In modern football, the centre-forward is more than just a goal scorer. The role demands involvement in build-up, the ability to hold up play, create space for midfielders, and apply pressing triggers. Mbappé, when deployed as a number 9, lacks these qualities. He's not a hold-up player. He doesn't drop deep to combine like a proper striker, his pressing intensity is inconsistent, and without Ancelotti's trust, those limitations could cost him his spot at the starting 11 next season. Real Madrid is already being heavily linked to 2 potential replacements, Jurgen Klopp and Xabi Alonso. Both managers have very clear tactical identities, and both require a natural, complete striker to execute their systems. Xabi Alonso runs a controlled build-up system. At Bayer Leverkusen, he uses striker Victor Boniface or Patrick Schick, who are pivotal in ball progression and help initiate attacking transitions from deep. For Alonso, the striker is a structural anchor, not just a finisher. Mbappe doesn't fit either mold as a pure number 9, and if Xabi takes over, Mbappe could find himself out of position or out of favour. His future at Madrid depends not just on his talent, but on whether the next manager can find a tactical balance that preserves his influence without compromising the system. Without Ancelotti, nothing is guaranteed. Not his role, not his minutes, and certainly not his dominance in the squad. If Carlo Ancelotti is dismissed at the end of the season, the tactical landscape at Real Madrid will shift dramatically. Among the most likely candidates to replace him is Xabi Alonso, a former Madrid midfielder, now one of the most sought-after managers in Europe, having guided Bayer Leverkusen to an invincible Bundesliga season with a tactical system both structured and innovative. Alonso's system is not built around individual brilliance. It is built around balance, structure, and system-orientated roles, and this could create a real dilemma for Kylian Mbappe. At Leverkusen, Alonso favoured a 3-4-2-1, occasionally adapting to a 3-5-2 or 4-4-2. Central to his system is the use of a fixed-point striker, such as Victor Boniface or Patrick Schick. These forwards are not just finishers, they are targets for progression, links in the build-up, and essential to pressing triggers. They drop deep, hold up play, and create vertical connections between midfield and attack. Mbappe, as a striker, does not fit this mold. He doesn't consistently drop into the midfield to link up. He doesn't press with structure. His strength is in receiving the ball in space, facing the goal, typically from the left side, not with his back to the goal in central areas. That means that under Alonso, Mbappe may not be the preferred option at number 9. And it doesn't end there. Alonso's system includes 2 attacking midfielders. One, a playmaker, like Florian Wirtz at Leverkusen. The other, an off-the-ball runner or second striker. In a Real Madrid context, the playmaker role would likely go to Jude Bellingham, who thrives on receiving between the lines, carrying the ball into the final third, and dictating the tempo in tight areas. This role fits Bellingham's profile perfectly. For the second attacker, Alonso may turn to Vinícius Jr. His ability to stretch play, make diagonal runs into the box, and provide width aligns with the inside forward role Alonso has used on the flanks. But here's the problem. Vinícius and Mbappe want to operate from the left. They can't coexist there. And in a tactically rigid system like Alonso's, roles are not swapped freely based on individual preference. They're determined by fit and function. This raises a major concern. Will Mbappe and Vinícius now be competing for the same position? If so, Vinícius may have the edge. He tracks back, he defends, he understands Real Madrid's system and has grown within it. Alonso values players who work off the ball, who close space and who defend transitions. In this context, Vinícius may be more aligned with Alonso's requirements than Mbappe. If Mbappe cannot claim the left wing or the striker role, his place in the starting 11 becomes unclear. Furthermore, Alonso might insist on signing or elevating a true striker to lead the line. A player in the mold of Joselu, strong in duels, effective in holds-up, a consistent aerial threat, could be reinstated or replaced with a new profile entirely. In this case, Mbappe would need to adjust drastically or risk being used situationally, not as a guaranteed striker. Alonso's approach is team first. The tactical model is greater than any one player. He relies on clear structures, defined movements, and precise execution. If you don't fit the system, you don't play. And this is why Mbappe's role under Alonso is uncertain. Without adapting his game to Alonso's tactical demands, pressing intensity, positional discipline, off-the-ball movement, he risks becoming a tactical misfit in a squad that cannot afford imbalance. Mbappe's talent is undisputed, but under Xabi Alonso, talent alone does not ensure a place in the lineup. Role fit does. Another coach heavily linked with Madrid is Jurgen Klopp. Klopp, like Xabi Alonso, runs a system that demands structure, discipline, and clearly defined roles. But unlike Alonso, Klopp has a long history of adjusting to elite-level forwards and finding tactical compromises to get the most out of them. That flexibility could benefit Mbappe, and it also comes with limits. At the heart of Klopp's system is the number 9, not just a goal scorer but a connector, a striker who drops deep, links play, drags defenders, and makes space for the wide forwards to attack. The best example of this? Roberto Firmino. Firmino wasn't the most prolific finisher, but his movement, intelligence, and selfless play allowed Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah to thrive. He was the pivot in Klopp's front three, a forward who made everyone around him better by creating overloads, combining with the midfield, and pressing relentlessly without the ball. His understanding of space and timing was central to Klopp's most successful Liverpool team. Now, compare that to Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe is explosive, he's direct and lethal in front of goal, but his style is focused on finishing, not linking. He doesn't naturally drop into midfield, he doesn't orchestrate transitions or pressing cohesive triggers. He plays off the last line of defense, waiting for moments to strike. In a pure footballing sense, he does not replicate the functions Firmino offered, and that creates a dilemma. Can Klopp use a player like Mbappe as a number 9 in his system? Possibly, but not without compromise. We've already seen what happens when Klopp tries to adjust his setup to suit a different kind of striker. Darwin Núñez. When Núñez was brought to Liverpool, he arrived with pace, power, and goal-scoring promise, but he didn't have the playmaking intelligence or positional understanding to function the way Firmino did. The result? Inconsistency, unbalanced pressing, disrupted midfield connections. Liverpool's best spells during that time came when Diogo Jota, a more versatile, system-aware forward, played instead. The team functioned better, even if Jota wasn't as individually explosive. Now, to be clear, Mbappe is a far superior player to Núñez in every technical and tactical metric, but the issue is not about individual quality, it's about role capability. If Klopp cannot get Mbappe to play as a true connective number 9, he'll need to change the system around him, and that has historically reduced the overall functionality of Klopp's teams. That said, unlike Alonso, Klopp is more willing to compromise for elite individual talent. He could deploy Mbappe in a hybrid role, starting centrally but drifting left in possession, or even alternating with Jude Bellingham in a fluid attacking rotation. Klopp's track record of adjusting to players like Salah and Mane, who both had wide forward tendencies, suggests he might find a solution. But the risk remains. Real Madrid might end up with an attacking setup that doesn't maximize either Mbappe or the team. History shows that Klopp's system works best with a striker who elevates others. Someone who leads the press, links midfield, and accepts a secondary goal-scoring role if necessary. That is not Mbappe's game. So while Klopp might be able to find a way to use Mbappe, as he has done in the past with other forwards, the question is not whether Mbappe will play, but whether he will thrive, and whether the rest of the team will function around him. But what do you think? Who would Real Madrid sign as the next manager? And do you think Mbappe or Vinícius get benched? Well, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check out our last 2 videos on why the 2015 Champions League will not be forgotten and why it sucks to be Mbappe right now. Thank you.